Blue.
Buysse blue.
Yeah, it is blue. I think because of all the blue eyes. I don't know.
My favorite color is blue because I like blue.
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 It's blue because I look good in blue.
It has to be blue. Sky's blue. It's just a calming color, and I like the color of blue eyes. Blue.
I am really not sure why. It just feels, I like it, how it looks on me. I suppose it matches my eyes, maybe accents those a little bit, but not necessarily have any specific reason for it. I bought a blue truck, you know. I drink blue beers.
Purple. I think it's royal.
My favorite color is pink, definitely pink, and it's because it's better than all the other colors.
Blue.
Blue.
Blue. Buysse blue.
My favorite color is whatever color Mim's eyes are. Have you seen her dressed in green? Yeah. And when she wears blue, they're very blue. Favorite animal would have to be a dog. I have no idea because I don't really like any animal. So that's why. He's my least disfavorite.
I really don't like pets. Probably a fox.
Why? Why? Why a fox?
I don't know what size it is.
Like you?
Yeah.
Favorite animal had to be like a falcon because they can float around and go where they want. Freedom.
The puppy. They love you unconditionally. Lock your wife and your puppy in the car and see which one likes you the best when you come back. That's my favorite joke. I tell it all the time.
I told you that one.
Is that where it come from?
Probably a horse.
Because it's one here or why?
No, because when I was little, I always liked horses. I always had little horse miniatures. I'd use my babysitting money to buy these little horse miniature things. We always had horses on the farm, or ponies on the farm.
I'm not a big animal fan, so if I said an animal, I always think of elephants. I don't know exactly why, just they're big, they're mighty, they're gentle. You know, they're big but gentle.
Chimpanzee. I don't know, they're just so animated and it's fun to, or gorillas. They're so like us. It's interesting to watch them.
None. Probably a dog. They interact with people, and when you come home, they're friendly and more like people.
Favorite animal is probably a cat. It's kind of sneaky, and they just kind of walk all around, and they cuddle up next to you, start purring.
You ever had a cat as an adult?
One.
Wait.
Jojo.
Oh yeah. We get Smokey too.
Smokey, yeah.
A human being. What's yours?
Favorite animal? Probably a dog. And why? Is that they seem to be more forgiving than most human beings.
My first job, I worked at a Rock Island sale barn, feeding hay to the cattle. You have to do these interviews after we've been drinking all day?
Yeah, it's the best time.
First job, well, it was working on the farm, of course. Actually, my first job was with McDonald's in Rock Island. You know, I got a paycheck. Yeah.
First job was at a buster at Happy Steak.
Baling hay, 50 cents an hour. The neighbors, 50 cents an hour. Then when I got out of, when I was 14, I went to work at the Rock Island sale barn for like $1.25 an hour. And drove down to Rock Island when I was 14, didn't have a driver's license.
Babysitting. Dick and Diane, mostly. And Tom and Agnes.
Well, I used to babysit Kim and Sandy when I was 9 years old for Dick and Diane to go out for the evening. Babysat Angie. Babysitting would be the first. And then I think it was because Marita and Jean worked for a company that grew Christmas trees. So in the summer, we'd go and trim the Christmas trees, walk up and down the rows and shape the trees. That was probably my second job, I guess.
Babysitting, and then I worked at Sears, my first real job. I did part-time work when I was still in high school as a receptionist. I went and transcribed shorthand and stuff like that.
Babysitting for 50 cents an hour. For, yeah, 50 cents an hour. Neighbors, and many kids, and doing dishes and
Waiting tables at the Roadway Inn in Lake Havasu.
My first real job was teaching junior high math in Leaf River, Illinois, which is a really small little school. I had 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. And I found it unrewarding. Working with my dad, I suppose, but first job I really got paid at was probably working with Ronald Schrader, harvesting oats, and it was a hard job. Ooh, like all week, maybe $8 for the whole week, and it was enough to take my girlfriend to the fair. That's all I needed.
Well, I worked for the state of Illinois for a while.
Doing what?
Highway engineering, laying out the Interstate 80. And then I went to college, year after high school.
How did I support myself? I did woodworking as a side job while going to college.
Well, I went I worked construction 2 summers between college, and then went right to work in an architect's office. So,
Farmed and then worked, always worked a second job. But in the wintertime, I'd go to work at John Deere, at the planter works or harvester works or whoever was hiring.
What did you do for them?
Assembly.
Assembling tractors?
No, planter parts. One winter I worked in a foundry. That's what wasn't much fun. Another winter I worked tying tractors on the rail cars when they were going to ship them out to other places. So I just did whatever.
I worked at a printing place, and then shortly after that I got married. I had somebody else to support me.
I went to college in Phoenix and then started working for the college that I went to school at, Lamson Business College, and worked there, had an apartment.
I worked at Sears, and I worked behind the counter. I loaded freight. I teletyped, which not too many people even know what that is, but that was fun. That was my first one.
count every penny that I made my own clothes, kept a really tight budget, and didn't do much. I did, when I got out of high school, I did Rock Island Metropolitan Airport Authority, and I made enough money to buy a '69 Mustang for $2,000 in 1971. I was a receptionist to the airport manager, the operations manager, and the accounting manager. It was fun.
Well, I saved money from working at the Roadway Inn and went to cosmetology school and started cutting hair. And I did that for almost 20 years.
I borrowed money to go to college on, and I paid it back, unlike most people, and worked summer jobs and saved. Mostly construction. My dad knew the guy that was the union steward, and he would get us summer jobs. So I worked road construction, and I worked building a hospital. And then one summer I just worked for my dad, and he gave me $1,000 at the end of the summer. So I just took that and went to the bank. A lot of different jobs. Right after high school, I guess I worked at JCPenney. And when I was going to college, I worked in the sporting goods department at JCPenney. In the what department? Sporting goods department. Sold guns, fit bowling balls, gave them ammunition with their guns, and they walked right out of the store.
The more the love.
There was always something to do, and my siblings were great. They were funny and fun-loving, so always had fun.
I don't know if it would always be a favorite thing, but in our family, it's awesome that everybody loves everybody unconditionally. And I don't know that any of them, I've never seen, since we've been growing up, anybody fight. You know, and so that's probably my favorite thing, to be able to, you know, have family that you love instead of hate. And we're lucky. You don't realize how lucky you are.
The diversity of all the different personalities.
It's just so fun to get together and have a bunch of people to talk to, you know. Just you always had somebody to, growing up, you always had somebody to play with or fight with.
Always having somebody to talk to if you need to. Always having somebody to fight with, because that was always fun. No.
The get-togethers like this. You growing up, it was you always had a full team that you could go play with, and actually like going to the older brother sports events all the time. You know, just having that whole social life.
My favorite part, so many people to love and so many people to love me. All my nieces and nephews. It's awesome. I know other people are envious of us.
I think that there's always somebody to talk to, always somebody to play games with, and just, you know, the love surrounding everybody.
Having as many siblings as I did made it really easy for me to look good. That was my favorite part. Man, learning from them. You know, they all give you examples, and some of the older ones are just amazing people. The younger ones, I'm not really sure, but still, in life and business, it's nice to have all the different people's responses to things and how they accomplish things and the examples they set to follow. That was good.
I never thought about it. I really didn't. I couldn't answer that question.
8.
8.
Yeah.
And you ended up with 3.
What?
8. It was
How many
weird.
kids do you have?
8. We said that when we got married, we were going to have 8 kids, and not really thinking that we were going to have 8. We said, oh, we're just going to have 8, you know. And when the 8th one was here, Diane said, that's over. It's done. I was only 31 years old.
8. I always wanted 8 kids. I don't know. I just, the number I picked, I guess.
How many did you have?
4. I had half of that.
Did not think about it at all.
I thought it would be, this was in the 70s, because the world was not getting along, that it would be neat to adopt a child from every country just to prove that people can get along. But that quickly changed, you know, when you realize what it took to raise children. So I didn't have a goal to have so many personally.
4. I don't know why.
How many did you end up having?
2.
I never decided because I figured that was a decision to be made between my husband and myself. However, after I got married, I decided I wanted 3.
I think I wanted about 8 because Dick had 8. And I was like, oh, that's so cool to have such a big family. I think I want 8. But as soon as I had 1, I narrowed it down to 3.
0. Mim and I both said 0. And then one of them snuck up on us, so we decided to have 2. When I was young, how many kids I want to have? I guess a couple. 2. And because 12 was too many.
I don't know, probably milking the cows. Yeah.
Favorite thing was, I think, playing, that I can remember, was always playing in the creek and damming it up and sliding down the banks after we watered them up.
Probably driving the tractor. And then in the fall, the harvest part, and that's still my favorite part, is harvest. So we pick corn we never picked corn by hand, we had corn pickers, but unloading the corn and running up the elevator into the cribs. I don't know, you worked all year to get something, and then that was when you got your reward. not necessarily when you sold it, just when you harvested it. So
I think helping Dad out in the fields, like plow. I did a lot of disking. I love baling hay. I just like doing the farm part of it.
Was there a favorite thing? Oh yeah. Okay. So we used to always play ball, and playing ball involved playing it in the pasture, which was covered with cow pies. So making a base, here's home plate, and that'd be one cow pie, and first base would be another, and so on and so forth. So, you'd go inside and your feet were green from grass and running through a cow pie or two. So, yeah, between your toes. It was kind of interesting life.
So Daniel Boone was a big thing right then. I would go get a stick, and we had this outhouse that was tipped over, and so I would pretend that that was my house, my fort, and I'd shoot Indians with the stick.
Probably, I remember playing baseball with all my siblings out in the field.
There was a lot of things. I remember having a tire swing hanging from the big tree and swinging back and forth on that. I remember one year it rained really hard right before it froze, so our whole backyard was an ice skating rink. That was one of my favorite memories, I think, of the farm. And it stayed that way for like a month, so we went out all the time ice skating.
Playing out in the pasture, in the summers, we just run out there barefoot and play all day. We had a little creek that went through there, and we'd dam it up and jump in the water and play games. And I had a tree house out there, and just being boys out in the pasture was a lot of fun. Probably taking hikes with my sister Jean, out in the pasture, hunting rabbit, squirrels.
Wandering the pastures, or the fields, I guess, and the barns and the grasslands, ditches.
Mom's got a lot of favorite memories. She was always so pleasant, and she'd always back you up, and she was a cheerleader. That's my memory, I guess.
Playing a game of what game was that? It was,
Slapjack?
no, Scrabble.
Oh, Scrabble.
Scrabble, yeah.
It's more of the attitude, not necessarily specific incidents. I would say that's for both of them. It wasn't necessarily an event. It was just a lifestyle, the way they lived. Freedom, even though they had no freedom with all the 12 kids, but it always seemed like they did what they wanted and were able to make it all happen.
I think I've thought about that a lot, and I think just she had a couple of rules, and one was it takes two to fight, and if I would blame Lori for the fight, and she would blame me, and Mom didn't care. We'd have to sit in a chair like this right across from each other, and pretty soon we're both laughing. And she wouldn't spank either one of us. I never had a spanking. I don't know whether you did. You probably did. Yeah, one. But just the fact that that's the way she raised us kids, you know. And then the other thing is, you know, you're as happy as you want to be. You know, if you want to be a grouch and be unhappy, you can do that. But if you want to be happy, you just be happy. It's just all there is to it, really. So I think that's my favorite memories of her.
She's always in the kitchen fixing food. The other one, I guess, is when we were in 4-H. She was just always so patient with me because I didn't like what I was doing. I always had to sew or something like that. I didn't like sewing, and she was just so patient with me to try to get. Because I know my pattern, I was a little bigger in the shoulders or whatever, so I always had to change the patterns, and I didn't like that. And she was always so patient with me.
The thing I remember most about Mom is her looking in your eyes and making sure that she held your cheeks and just said, you know, I love you, or you're just I love you.
Oh, in Lake Havasu, when the first time we went out in the boat and it was winter time, this is everybody's. And just her laughing was so hysterical. We were all out in the middle of the lake pushing the boat off the sandbar, and Mom was just in the boat. She couldn't swim, so she wasn't out helping, but she was just laughing. It just tickled her.
My favorite memory of my mom is that she never got angry, and all of her morals that she taught us, such as don't talk about other people, treat people like you want to be treated, and that she always tried to help other people.
I remember when we moved to Lake Havasu, we had gone out in the boat and it was like January or February. And Dad didn't know the river, so he's cruising down the middle of the river and we get stuck on a sandbar. So we're in the middle of the river in February and it's freezing, the water's freezing cold, and we all had to get out and push. And we're like, Mom doesn't know how to swim, so she's in the boat laughing. And she says, I better stop laughing because I don't know how to swim. You guys are gonna make me come out here and do it.
I guess I don't have a lot of memories that were just her and I. Very, very few. I think the first time I remember ever having her undivided attention was when I was 16 years old going to get my driver's license. And she drove me there. And I think that was the only time I've ever been in the car. It's just her and I. So that's probably my favorite memory. Favorite memory of Mom? I guess how kind she was. And how good she cooked cookies. Those are good memories.
Favorite memory of Dad? Probably his drive and his hard working, his ability to work hard, and still never seem to be stressed or get upset.
Dad, he was a good trainer, I guess. I spent a lot of time driving a baler when he was on the rack, and I gotta say we were synced together pretty good when we were out there. It was just fun work.
Playing basketball with him, throwing the shot put.
That's a little harder to. I love the way that he could always get stuff done. I mean, I think that's all of his siblings have inherited that. Everybody gets things done, whatever it takes. I always laugh with, he would have Maria's room painted before she decided what color she wanted. He just, and he never got mad either. I mean, I think I had one knock on the head the whole time, but he worked hard. And so I think I have probably different memories than what you do, because we went on one vacation the whole time that I can remember that we were kids. Maybe two. We went to the East Coast once and we went to Minnesota once that I can remember. So he worked all the time, but he had always had time to come to our ball games, and I think the other thing is his love of sports, but it was the honor of the sport, not who won or lost. And I think the thing I remember, I was a quarterback when I was a junior, and Tom was the running back, and he got hurt in the game, and basically they wouldn't even have let you play now. It was a concussion, obviously, because he couldn't remember anything in the locker room, and the coach made him play anyway. And the coach's objective was take the other team's best player out of the game. And Dad just could not. That's not the way he was in sports, and so then he stopped letting anybody play football. And I learned later that, and I didn't really care. I had already started farming next to him anyway, and I had my buddies come out and try and talk Dad into it. And I found out later that if I would have asked him again, he would have let me. But I didn't know that, and I didn't care. So, but then none of the other brothers ever got to play football either. So I don't know. That was not maybe their best thing, but I think that's just the fairness of how fair he was.
And I think it was when we were on the tractor, and he was showing me how to come to the end of the row without slowing down. You get there and you put this foot on this brake and this one on the lift thing, and he did it all wrong and ran right into the fence.
He's always strong. He just was a nice guy. I mean, he's somebody that we all grew to look up to, and you have to admire him for the job that him and Mom both did to raise us kids to still, you know, when we're 60, 70 years old, want to get together and want our kids to get together is the important thing, and for them to all know each other.
Memory of Dad, I guess, is him. It's later on in life, an older memory, but when he would come over every Saturday and help me with the yard work.
We were in Lake of the Ozarks, and Verita and I had taken him out in the boat, and he was going to ski, and the rope got caught between his legs, and I was pulling it in. He's like, hey, stop that, Ryan, stop that. Verita says, you don't use it anymore, do you? You don't use it anymore, do you? And he's like, heck yeah.
I guess playing basketball with him, which he didn't do very often, but once or twice. Favorite memory of my dad? How he kind of like set a good example and made you challenge yourself as far as a memory goes to that effect. I can't think of one thing specific, but you know, just always how he lived his life, how he's respected, I guess is what I would say. Going through the community, everybody respected my dad.
Nieces and nephews. I believe there's 39.
Good question. That was not on the list. It wasn't. I would have looked it up probably.
That's why it wasn't on the list.
I could probably come up with them. Tom has 3. So you add them up so you can give us the answer. 3,
I believe it's somewhere around 34.
and then that's Tom. We have 8. So that's not any of ours though. So then Jim has 3. Jerry has, I don't know how many Jerry has. Let's just say 8.
You slipped that one in, didn't you?
Just first. You don't do on a grade. Just first.
Just first nephews, first nieces and nephews. Let's say it's an average 4 times 12. 48.
And Jerry, Harry's got 2.
I don't know, 28 or so. I don't know. Too many to count.
Rita's got 3.
I have 42, approximately 42, and then the greats are probably up to 70.
Jean's got 4.
38 minus 4, 34.
Dave's got 2.
I don't know, about 36.
Steve's got 2. Lori's got 3.
35. Mine count 38. If you're just talking nieces and nephews, not great nieces and nephews.
A lot? Is that a valid answer? A shipload. A whole shipload.
Just nieces and nephews, not great nieces and nephews.
Nieces and nephews. 36.
Who am I missing? Carol. Carol's got 2.
I cheated on this one and listened to Jan. I think she said 39. Are we just talking first?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
How many was that?
I don't know, how many was that? You were supposed to add them up when I give you the numbers.
I was counting like our family.
Oh, you silly. I don't know. 32.
Okay.
Lori's a lot like Mom, I would say. You look a lot like her, and you're smiling, and you're always positive.
Probably Carol, I think.
Carol from the caring of children.
Carol.
Why?
Because I never seen her mad. Not that I've ever seen any of them mad, but her looks. She's always usually happy. So.
Carol.
Carol? Why?
Just her face, her expressions, her nose.
I don't know that any of us are like mom entirely. But if I had to say one, I don't have one.
Me. I look the most like her, and crossword puzzles, and a lot of the same interests, reading and crossword puzzles, and kind of her demeanor most of the time.
We've had this discussion before, and I don't think anybody agreed because I think each of us felt that we felt like we were like mom. And I feel like I learned a lot from mom, and I think of her often in the things that she taught me, and I like to use her as a role model. I think all of us probably have that. Are you including the brothers and the sisters?
Yeah.
Well, Dick kind of likes children a little bit, so did Mom, and honest and has good morals.
I would say I'm a lot like Mom because I like to do the homemaking, the baking, the crafts, love of children, taking care of others.
I'm not sure that anybody reminds me that much of my mom. I think there's qualities of each of my sisters that remind me of my mom, but not one person dominating that. They all have some attributes of my mother that I really like. So I wouldn't say there's any of them that reminds me that much of my mom. Who's like my mom? Probably Jan. She's very nurturing and takes care of her family really well and is organized and probably cooks. I haven't been with her when she does it, but I bet she cooks the right amount of food and there's no food left over. Everybody gets what they need.
God, Harry and Dick. Harry's got a lot of his movements and features and stuff, and Dick's got his charm and his, I don't know, his fatherliness, I guess.
I think I am.
Gene, probably from a matter of fact and get her done and go and the general spirit. And I think a little bit of myself. Everybody probably says that, but just from an outlook or long-term perspective.
I say maybe Harry. Well, because he likes sports, for one thing, and he's always doing stuff. But I don't know. I thought about that one, I think, but I think it was Harry. And I really don't have a really good reason.
Harry, he walks like him, and his actions are a lot like Dad's.
Looks like Dad was Tom. Personality of Dad, I don't know, Dick's got way more personality than Dad did, but Dick and Dad were both related to each other because of their business, farming. So in that world, I'd say Dick is most like Dad.
Harry. His walk, his stance, the way he looks, his positive attitude, his love of sports.
Maybe Jean. I don't know. She likes farming and likes to work hard.
Harry is. Harry or Dick, I think they're both, the farming with Dick, and Harry, like I said, with the sports and everything.
Me. That's what I think, but I think I look like him the most, and I share his love of sports and doing things athletically. So yeah, I think I'm probably the most like. I think I'm the most like my dad, but I don't know what everybody else thinks. Gene, work ethic strong, to the point, little words. Milking a cow. I mean, why? Because he sticks its foot in a bucket, the flies going around you just like it is here today. Smell crap every day, twice a day.
What is something?
Cleaning the hog house.
Milking the cows, because they would, in the summertime, they would have shit on their tail and they'd swat flies with their tail and hit you in the face.
Knock the bucket over at one time.
Yeah, kick the bucket over. Yeah, yeah.
Probably dishes.
Why?
Because there's so many of them.
Washing dishes. Oh, because there were so freaking many of them. It was just like, every night it was table set for 12, and we did, 3 silverwares. We did the whole plate, and then we had to wash them, scrape them, wash them.
Dusting. I still don't like dusting.
What is something? Dishes. You had dishes for 12 people. It took you forever to do the dishes.
You always had fun doing it.
We didn't have a dishwasher. I was always, I'll scrape them.
Grinding corn, we had this machine that you would put whole ears of corn in and it would grind it up for the pigs to eat. And it was super noisy, real high pitched, loud. We should have been wearing earphones, earplugs. It was just really annoying. It was always hot, dusty, and noisy. That was my least favorite. And a little dangerous too.
Milk the cow at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Why?
Why? Because it was 6 o'clock in the morning. And because Dad would get you up and let everybody else stay in bed.
Least favorite chore. Did I have chores on the farm? I don't think I had chores. I never had to do anything on the farm. I just sat around, so I really didn't have a least favorite chore.
Oh, I was not sneaky. I was not sneaky. We always, whenever Mom would go grocery shopping, we'd empty out the cupboard and make, I forgot what they were, chocolate oatmeal and stuff.
No baked bars.
No baked bar or something. She never knew.
Something sneaky. Probably shoplifting. I wasn't very good at it, so I got caught.
I stole the neighbor's car once. It's not his car, his pickup. Yeah, I worked for my neighbor, and I knew where his pickup was, and he was gone, and I borrowed it. I brought it back and didn't steal it. Borrowed it, drove it into Orion to see somebody, and came back home.
I don't remember doing anything sneaky. I don't have one there.
Sneakiest thing I remember doing was going to, used to be kind of like a Kmart store. Can't remember the exact name of it. And they had those bubble gums that hung on a long, there's like maybe 20 pieces of bubble gum and it was all hooked together. And we'd sneak over and take one off the bottom. And then we realized it was stealing, and then we felt bad, but we still ate the gum.
I can't really think of anything. Just sneaking out with Greg, probably, which I didn't do very often. I mean,
Greg?
My high school sweetheart.
Oh my gosh, the worst thing probably one of the worst things I ever did in my life was tell my sister Carol that on her birthday, she sucked her fingers like this and twirled her hair, and I didn't want her to have buck teeth. So I told her that we looked it up in the encyclopedia and showed her, Dave and I were showing her how if you still suck your finger on such and such birthday, I don't know how old she was, too old to be sucking her fingers. And I really didn't want her to have buck teeth. So I had good intentions, but it's bad. I told her that if she still sucked her finger on the night of her the day before her birthday, that her thumb would turn green and she would die. And so we put green food coloring on her thumb, and she wrapped it up, and that, that's pretty bad.
When I was 15, before I had my driver's license, I didn't steal. My friend had a job and she needed to get to work. And so she called me and said, can you pick me up and take me to work? I said, well, my mom's not home. And she goes, well, just take the motorhome and come pick me up. So I took the motorhome, didn't even have a driver's license, took the motorhome down that great big steep driveway in Lake Havasu, and took her to work and brought it back and parked it before they knew I took it.
I don't think I really was very sneaky. I always manage to find an edge in cards or any games we played. My siblings always thought I was cheating. They might call it cheating, but I was pretty sneaky about games and usually could pull it off without them noticing that I was cheating.
Not too much, really. I was just a pretty straightforward child. Probably almost killing a cow in a barn when I was drinking bourbon when I was 12.
Probably a cell phone.
Communications.
In my lifetime, the internet has to be hands down. In my personal lifetime, I have a few, but just one for surgery, which really has changed medical industry. And if anybody's going to have surgery, it's now going to be a new standard of care for them. So, a LigaSure vessel sealing system, so used by doctors around the world, that I invented.
It'd have to be the telephone, and cell phones.
Cell phone or telephone?
Well, I mean, the telephone is involved in too. What the telephone is involved in? Electricity is probably the greatest invention because of what everything takes electricity to run it. If you didn't have electricity, you wouldn't have cell phones. So electricity would probably be the biggest invention ever.
I'm sure it has to be the microwave. It just made cooking so much faster. The kids' snacks so much faster. You have to wait for.
I'd say the cell phone, smartphones. I mean, now they're computers and it's your life in that little handheld opposed to a room full of computer systems. So, cell phone.
The computer, because it just changed the world. You know, everything started from that basic, and
Probably email. The fact that I no longer had to type a letter and make copies of it and duplicate it, and it was amazing. You know, you're at work and you just type a letter to 2 people and you can copy it to many more and send it out over the sky, and that was way different than, that's a pretty cool invention. I always dreamed of the day I would have a phone in my car. So that was, communication has changed.
I would have to say computers and the internet, just because you know the communication that you can make with what it is, and like your cell phones are basically a mini computer.
The internet. I would say the internet, yeah. I mean, integrated circuits, which led to the personal computers, which led to the internet. And I think that whole part is in my lifetime.
I like airplanes, transportation, and airplanes went a long ways. I mean, they flew to the moon shortly. I wouldn't say that's necessarily the first invention. They were invented before my lifetime started.
Mick Ultra.
Go-to drink? Right now it's water.
What was it?
What was it? Probably gin and tonic, or vodka tonic.
In lemonade now. In the last 5 months, I stopped drinking, so it's now lemonade, which replicates probably a good margarita. Or you can take lemonade and mix it in with berries and juices, which would simulate a good mixed drink. But beer or whiskey.
Diet Pepsi.
Right there.
What is it?
It's a rum and coke.
My go-to drink? When I'm by myself, water. When I'm with the family, whatever's available. I used to say rum and Coke. Now I can't drink Coke. So then I have to do non-caffeinated ones, and then it gets a little tougher to come up with a good drink. So beer, water.
7 and 7. Seagram 7 and 7 Up. Can't be Sprite.
Mountain Dew. It's good.
Miller Lite. With a lime.
Diet Coke.
Oh man, I think whiskey and 7 Up, 7-7.
I think I like Florida. I'm gonna say Florida.
Where am I at? You know, United States.
United States. I guess I'm getting to make that choice right now, which is Lake Havasu City, Arizona. Colorado, we'll see if I can give that up.
Iowa.
Right where you're at?
Yeah, right where I'm at.
I think it has to be close to the mountains, not in the mountains, because then you can't see nothing. I think close to the mountains.
I would love to go to Austria, just because it's got to be beautiful. Would like to experience that for a while, and then go back home. Home is where the family is.
I love Switzerland, Como, Italy. That'd be nice. But Switzerland, I don't know where, what city at all, but it's beautiful there. But Colorado pretty much can't be beat either.
Well, I kind of like San Diego, but I better say Illinois since I live here. I love July is my favorite month. I love the cornfields and the morals of the people in the Midwest are trusting, and I liked San Diego because of the weather, but Illinois is pretty cool.
You know, as long as it's close to my family and on a lake somewhere, Lake Travis, Lake Colorado, on a lake.
I've lived in a lot of places and I've enjoyed them all. I think wherever I am at the moment, really, I don't long to live somewhere else. I'm fine as long as Mim's there with me.
I'm living there, San Diego. It's a pretty good spot.
5R5.
One long. Ring.
No idea, but 855-3343 was Havasu.
A short, a long, and a short.
5R5.
526 8096, something like that. 8256. It was two longs and a short.
303-526-8296. 303, 309, 309-526-8296.
2 rings and a short.
526-8298.
5R5 was our, we were line 5 and our ring was one long, which was a 5. So when it just went one long, that was us. And he picked it up. And we were on line 5, so it was 5R5.
2 longs and a short. Short and 2 longs. I think 2 longs and a short.